So, Deadpool and Wolverine overtakes Joker as the highest grossing R-rated film in history with 1.8 billion globally. Now, this was like 3 days ago, but it's still a triumph moment in the history of the MCU that they actually made something work. And it's one of those reasons why you should be a comic book fan if you're not a fan of Deadpool and Wolverine, because this is the perfect time to even become one, because this film not only set up the X-Men debut, but they set up a lot of great things, potential returns and debut in the multiverse saga. And not only that, but they managed to give the fans what they really want after all these years. It's a faithful comic adaptation done right. And Deadpool and Wolverine did exactly just that. Yes, the story is questionable, but I could care less about the story. I just want to see how everybody performs as these iconic comic characters in the MCU. But you know what? They gave me exactly what I wanted. So let's dive into this article. Deadpool is living up to his self-appointed money appointed monikers. Deadpool is living up to his self-appointed monikers as Marvel Jesus. Disney's comic book sequel Deadpool and Wolverine has generated 1.86 billion at the global box office after 23 days of release, overtaking 2019's Joker with 1.78 billion as the highest grossing R-rated film in history. Marvel's Save the Universe adventure landed in theaters on July 26, collecting a mighty 211 million in its domestic debut to rank as the sixth biggest opening weekend of all time. Since then, Deadpool and Wolverine has remained a massive draw with 516 million in North America and 568 million internationally. It surpassed the entire theatrical run of its predecessors, 2016's Deadpool with 783 million and 2018's Deadpool 2 with 786 million. After just 2 weeks in theaters, it's now the second blockbuster of 2024, following Disney's Pixar smash Inside Out 2 with 1.558 billion, and second R-rated movie ever to join the covered billion-dollar club. Thanks for making Marvel Studios' first R-rated movie the biggest of all time, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige said in a statement. It's fantastic to see that audiences are loving this new movie as much as we all love making it. All those conventions were worth it. And shout out to Kevin Feige for actually embracing the fandom, because I'm sure they're going to be talking about this movie throughout the years to come. And for everybody else that has negative opinion, that really hates this movie because of whatever reason, yes, I can understand the story is a bit questionable sometimes, but it's all about saving their timelines and creating the mistakes that happened during their time period. And if you watch my last video on Jada Tatum's Gambit, stating that there is an end credit where you can see Gambit going back to his timeline. So whatever he's dealing with, I'm sure they're going to make a Gambit TV show out of the MCU. I could just see it being written all over it, in my opinion. The studio chief is cheekily referring to a line in a movie where Deadpool jokes that Feige said cocaine was the only thing off limits. In real life, Feige insists he didn't issue that edict. We're open to anything, Feige told Variety for a cover story in July. After about a 28 time... Sorry, I'm sorry. Over. The studio chief is cheekily referring to a line in the movie where Deadpool jokes that Feige said cocaine was the only thing off limits. In real life, Feige insists he didn't issue that added. We're open to anything, Feige told Variety for a cover story in July. After about the 28th time You do a joke. Sometimes it's not as funny. Maybe, maybe I'm slightly prudish or whatever that word says when it comes to a drug use. But I was like, yeah, it's not that funny. Ryan, of course, stores everything in his brain for later use as excellent jokes. And he added it to the script. And that's the one thing I love about Ryan Reynolds is that even though he's a comedian in real life, but he's also an actor. But as a comedian, he knows how to put certain jokes in one lines and that can make it work. But I think the ones that are not a fan are the offenders, the left mob, the SJWs, of course. And I remember there were a few videos on TikTok talking about how they didn't like Deadpool and Wolverine because it was mocking Jesus. Like, you can't make this up. I mean, the Paris Olympics really mocked Jesus in the wrong way possible. They deserve all of the backlash that got to them, but Deadpool and Wolverine is a different story. So I don't know how they're not offended by the Paris Olympics, but you're offended with Deadpool and Wolverine. Make it make sense. Even as a Christian, I kind of like the jokes what they did because they needed something that can get the fans laughing. And yeah, I can understand, why people like the movie because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and Kevin Feige were able to just put everything in order and everything together, and they made $1 billion movie out of it in the right way possible. A good script, a good lines, good fight choreographies, and of course, the comic faithful adaptations done right in live action form. And I truly believe that in 5 years, they're gonna probably still talk about this movie because if you're watching like the 90s Marvel TV shows, reading the comics or playing video games, you'll always think of Deadpool and Wolverine. That's honestly the kind of vibe I'm getting from, in my opinion. Deadpool and Wolverine, starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as their anti-hero alter egos, is notable because the film ushers the comic book characters that were previously licensed to 20th Century Fox into Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's the first R-rated movie in the MCU. It's never R-rated just to be R-rated. Reynolds told Variety prior to the film's release. A lot of it's just because the character. Nah. It's never R-rated. No. It's never rated R just to be rated R, right? Deadpool and Wolverine starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as their anti-hero. Gosh. Deadpool and Wolverine starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as their anti-alter egos. What? Deadpool and Wolverine starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as their anti-hero alter egos is notable because the film ushers the comic book characters that were previously licensed to 20th Century Fox into Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's the first R-rated movie in the MCU. It's never rated R just to be rated R, Reynolds told Ferrari prior to the film's release. A lot of it is just the character. The character is very crass. His brain is like a half-eaten omelet inside the skull of a 7-year-old. Okay, that part is funny. I like that. Ticket sales have been crazy because Reynolds and director Sean Levy brought Jackman's gruff mutant Logan out of retirement and assembled a who's who of Fox era heroes, including Jennifer Garner as Elektra, Chris Evans as Human Torch from the Fantastic Four, Wesley Snipes as Blade to accompany Deadpool and Wolverine on a timeline salvaging mission. So diehard fans opted to see the movie early and often to avoid plot twists, major cameos, and other spoilers. Let me just say this right here because, like I said, as a fan of Deadpool and Wolverine, this film really, really changed a lot. It completely saved the MCU because they have a lot coming out next year and the year after that. In 2030, we're going to see one of the biggest debuts in the franchise history, the X-Men. So, whether they're going to probably cast somebody who is Wolverine, someone who has a deep voice, someone who is very athletic that can do a lot of acrobatic stuff, because when you think about it, I really want to see Hugh Jackman stay as Wolverine a little bit more longer because of the Secret Wars. Because I think something tells me he's gonna probably like return in the multi saga. Well, in the multi. So the biggest thing I learned from all of this information from the article is that this movie really crushed the box office records because a lot of us didn't really think that it was going to become this big, surpassing certain films like the Joker, the Barbie. Even though I don't like the movie though, but that's just my opinion. But Deadpool and Wolverine, I feel like really capitalized on how to make a comic film done right, in my honest opinion. But I feel like I want more. I want more of films like this. I want them to continue this energy. I want them to continue this passion without putting any of that outside stuff in films that none of us really don't like. Which I have a gut feeling that it's gonna probably happen. So the last 10 to 15 years with the original MCU, yes, there is some good stuff. So for the last 10 to 15 years with the MCU, I feel like there were a lot of good stuff that I really enjoyed. Like Spider-Man No Way Home because of because of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's return in the film. Best part about No Way Home. And its ending as well. Now on that, but Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. But everything else went downhill after that. Every film and television show they put out, it was all a pile of dog crap. And I think a lot of y'all know it. So, yeah. Shout out to Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, Kevin Feige, and everybody behind Deadpool and Wolverine that gave us a true comic adaptation. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments down below.